There's times you should bank. Most of the time you should avoid it, but there's times when you can't really avoid it. Like after the break, if your opponent breaks dry, and you can't get position on the two ball without banking it. And if you try to cut it or even shoot it straight in, the cue ball is going to get away from you. So in the times where you yourself get bad position, or sometimes you want to shoot for position on a bank because it's the easiest and best way to get position on the next ball. So here, obviously, is one of those cases where if I cut the one ball into the side, the cue ball is going to get away from me, and the two balls down here. So that would make it pretty difficult to get on the three. We still want to get on this side of the three and not that side. And we want to try to get as straight as we can because the four ball is just a stop shot. Or maybe a drawback for the five ball. So two banks come up in this rack, which is why I dug it out of the archive, because the subject of banks itself has been coming up a lot, and we're just going to roll it here. In the background, you're going to hear a friend of mine talking. His name is Rocky Top Bob. And shortly after this video was taken, which was May 2017, May 20th, shortly afterward, the guy talking in the background died. And they called him Rocky Top because he lived in Lake City, Tennessee, and they changed their name to Rocky Top, Tennessee. So before they started calling him Rocky Top, they were calling him Lake City Bob. So when the town's name changed, they start calling him Rocky Top Bob. He was a good guy. Everybody liked him. Nobody ever said a bad word about him. He was always pulling for me every time he saw me play. And he's just an all-around good guy. And you'll hear him pulling for me in the background. This is typical Bob. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the volume on until after... maybe after the three ball, I'll turn it down.
Yeah, you guys do. Just got an hour, is it? Yeah.
So before that shot, I was working on that short bank there, cross side bank, and I was having trouble with it, and I was sending it long. So I had to dial it in, and some of the last words Bob ever said, I miss the guy. Here's two ball, and I'm shooting this two rails to go back out on to three for somewhere around center table for this three ball. A lot of juice on that. A lot of right hand English and a really good stroke.
Nice angle it goes on. Yeah.
He's still talking about the bank. He was trying to help me dial it in there, so, which he did. So four ball's right here. So let's see what we do. Should be just maybe a slight draw. Oh, it went on top of it. Okay, well, that'll work. It could have been a disaster. I was a little bit dangerous. I probably should have just stopped it right here. Shot the four on that side over there. And that was a force. It was pretty much, you're hitting the ball pretty full, but you have a slight angle to get on that five, but it's not enough. So you kind of have to hit it, shoot the four hard, and force the cue ball over. It's a stun shot. Shot very hard to just do more than it would have naturally done. Center ball, just force it over. And there's a lot of ways you can play this ball. You can put a lot of spin on it and come around this side of the six to avoid messing with this 8-ball, you certainly don't want to get snookered behind this 8-ball. But this one's full enough too to where I can draw it without hitting around and just come a little below center of the table to shoot the 6-ball. So that's kind of a force too, but there's a little bit of draw to send it down table here. Now here's where I kind of screw up. For some unbeknownst reason, I put bottom on this ball too. And it was really a dumb way to play this. I'll show you after I shoot it how I should have played it and why. So I'm putting bottom on that ball. I'm just trying to draw it to straight in on the 8, on the 7. But how am I going to get on the 8 now? So really the only reasonable way to do this is to put a lot of spin on it, hit this ball full, try to keep the spin going to this rail and spin it all the way up to get, not straight in, but on top of the 8-ball, to shoot the 8-ball in this corner here. And you'll see the result here. I didn't force it to that rail with the spin. The spin, because the 7-ball was so full of a hit, it took all the English away from it. So by the time it hit that rail, it had no English on it at all to spin it up table. Now, if it was closer to the pocket, it wouldn't have been a problem. But it was kind of far from the pocket, so the spin didn't last to that rail. It'd be a good idea for your game to set that shot up, because it comes up all the time and people don't know why they're not getting shape on the next ball. And it's because the spin is dying. When you hit a ball full, it's no longer spinning. If you hit it thin, it's got plenty of spin on it. But if you hit it full, the object ball takes away all that spin. So if you want some left after like a foot-long shot, you're really, really going to have to spin the hell out of it. And that's going to deflect the object ball, which you're liable to miss. So it's a touchy issue. You really have to understand what's going on with both the cue ball and the object ball and how they're fighting each other. I hope I explained that well enough to comprehend. Just set that up over and over and over. That same shot, I'll show it to you again. It looks easy because you do have a slight angle, so it will bounce out to this rail, and it's still going to be spinning. It'll spin right out to perfect shape. But because it's so far away from the pocket, you're looking at least a diamond here. It's not the case, and because it's so full of a shot, and you have to shoot it full, because you're spinning the hell out of it, so you're deflecting the 7-ball to this end rail. So you're liable to rattle this object ball, especially on a tight table. So you kind of have to shoot for that other point, so it's fuller than you think it is. It's almost like a dead-on straight hit because the cue ball's spinning like a top. And it's got right-hand English on it, so it's spinning counterclockwise. And because it's so full, it just takes all that spin away. So you aimed here and you made it, but all the spin's gone by the time it hits this rail. So it doesn't have any spin to spin it back up. Touchy. Work on it. I really highly recommend you setting that up 100 times and spinning it all different, strengths, all different speeds, all different Englishes, everything, and see what happens with the cue ball. So let's look at what I should have done And let's go back to where this train wreck started, and this is it right here. A little bit of a draw, more like a stun shot, but we do have a little bit of an angle here that's sending the cue ball down this way. So if we just kind of stop it to get a little bit high on this 7 ball, like, you know, there it is there, there's the 6, and like right about here to where we have an angle to where we can go 2 rails and bounce out for the 8. That's one way to do it, or we could just get right here and just draw back for this 8 for a shot in the corner, but we still need an angle to get back on this 9 ball too. So, I mean, there's different ways to play it depending on how you're feeling, what your confidence level is with each shot. But drawing this ball all the way down to this rail is definitely not the way to do it. We needed this angle. If we got on this side of the 9, if we got high, like a couple inches toward the center of the table to where we are now, and just go 2 rails back on this 9, that would have been great. So let's keep on rolling through this puppy. And here's where I screwed up, to leave myself another bank on the 8. Now, this doesn't have to be a bank. Cutting it is a very, very hard shot, and it's a very thin shot, and this cue ball is liable to get away from you to where you go 3 rails and you wind up somewhere around this dot to shoot the 9. Probably for a bank. So I don't like this cut. It's too, even with these big old pockets, it's too hard. It's too much work. So now here again, because of my screw up on the 6 ball actually, and the way we had to shoot the 7 ball and couldn't get on the 8, we're left with another bank. So it's either cut this ball and probably lose the game because I'm going to miss the shot and the cue ball. Even if I make the shot, the cue ball is going to get away from me. There's just too much that can go wrong here. I don't know what happened there, but it happened. I think my elbow hit one of the keys on the keyboard. Oh, I'm such an amateur at this. So let's do it. We're going to shoot it. We do have an angle, even with the bank, to come back at least 2 rails and try to get back down table a little bit. It's kind of full, but there's still a little bit of a cut. So that was just a little bit of right hand English for a long shot on the 9. And you got to do what you got to do. Good stance, good stroke on that. This one goes out to Rocky Top Bob. We miss you, brother. The basic lesson in this is don't bank unless you absolutely have to bank. And sometimes you have to bank. If you're banking a lot, you're doing something wrong. I'll say that until I go join Rocky Top in heaven. I hope there's some pool tables up there. If there is, he's hanging around. I'm drinking his coffee. Again, bye, Rocky Top. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I hope your games are getting better. I'm in your corner. It's peace.